Here's my visual aid. Here are my note cards. I'm going to set them out right here. Alright, my name is Darian Goodman, and I'll be going over convergent versus divergent thinking. Now, if I were able to tell you that you can come up with multiple solutions to a problem by viewing this problem in different approaches, that would be pretty cool, right? Well, the way that people come up with creative solutions to a problem, or more solutions to a problem, is through convergent and divergent thinking. Now, convergent thinking is where you have knowledge of an idea, and here I'll show you my aid here. You have knowledge of an idea, and you come up with a solution to the problem by more direct thinking. Divergent thinking, you see the problem and you come up with multiple solutions to the problem through a more creative approach. Now, that being said, I will first talk about convergent thinking, which is the process of having facts and then coming up with a solution. And in praise of convergent thinking, Arthur Cropley states that the process in which we the process in which convergent thinking takes place is called novelty. And basically, novelty is just the way in which ideas are created in the brain by having knowledge. And this is the other component that Arthur Cropley says is key to convergent thinking, is having knowledge on a subject. And the more knowledge you have, the easier it is to come up with a solution to a problem. By which, the more facts you have, the easier it is to come up with a solution. Now, with divergent thinking, this is the opposite. You have a more creative approach. And in Ready, Set, Create, what instructing people to be creative reveals about the meaning and mechanisms of divergent thinking, Emily Nussbaum, I really hope I'm saying that correctly, goes over the studies that her and her associates did on the Be Creative effect, which is basically just an effect that was found in sociology that states that if someone were told to be more creative, then they are instantly more creative. Now, the Be Creative effect was tested in this setting using two groups. Now, one was told to use divergent thinking techniques, which would be more like you see a solution and then you come up with ideas on that solution, or you see a problem, you come up with ideas on or for solutions, and then another group that was told to use who was not told to be creative and to use divergent thinking techniques. And what this study found was that the people who were told to be more creative, it was found that while they had fewer ideas, their ideas were more intelligent. It was also found that with the people who were told not be creative, or who were not told to be creative, it was found that their solutions were less creative in nature versus the other group. And this simply states that the Be Creative effect is an effect that does have a effect on our creativity. And this is what this study was ultimately found to have stated. Now, Mark Kilgore and Why and How Do Creative Thinking Techniques Work, he goes over this study that was done on advertisement companies in which they had convergent thinking groups and divergent thinking groups. And what this study found was that the convergent thinking groups, when presented with solutions to a problem, they found that the more knowledge that people had on a subject, the easier it was to come up with the solution. So basically, meaning that the the more facts you have about a subject, the easier it is to come up with an answer. They found that versus the people who were they're doing divergent thinking tasks, they found that convergent thinking was in fact more creative. It created more creativity versus the uh, or divergent thinking, in which they saw uh, or which it was assumed that it would be more creative. The study found that the more facts you have about a subject, the easier it is to come up with a solution. Going back to Arthur Cropley's praise of convergent thinking, where he's hypothesized that it's easier to come up with a solution the more knowledge you have, or like it's you have more creativity when you have more knowledge on a subject. Now, these both go hand in hand in creating a system by which you can look at multiple solutions to a different problem, with convergent thinking being used for uh, more creative tasks, and divergent thinking being used for less creative tasks, more like administrative tasks, your task where you don't have to think. And this is basically the basis of what I was talking about today. And with divergent thinking, I'm sorry, with divergent and convergent thinking, you can use these in tandem to come up with multiple solutions to a problem. Thank you.